So today we'll be discussing caricature effect. So I have here a original file that I already made so that you can see how the final output will be. Wait a second. And there we go. Now as you can see, what I did here is through the use of Liquify effect, masking, and the lasso tool. So this activity will revolve around those three tools. Now let's start by opening a stock picture. It's preferred when you have a white background so that you won't have a hard time cropping it. So what you do is you use the quick selection tool to select the photo that you will intend to crop. Now just drag it over the body. Now make sure you get every part that you intend to use. Use the subtract tool to lessen the coverage of the quick selection. And there we go. Might take a while, but you know, you have to get the exact crop. You don't want to leave white edges. There we go. You press Ctrl J to separate the selected area from the layer. Now the next part will be to use a gradient to apply. I'm going to use a blue gradient so that it will pop out. Make sure you also have a white layer underneath the gradient layer. There we go. Oops, there's a white edge there. Okay, that's much better. Let's just erase that. I left. And then you again use the selection tool to remove the white edge. Now the next part is to use the lasso tool to crop the head of the layer. Now you have to enlarge it. That's the first step in creating the caricature effect. You press Ctrl T and then enlarge it. Now don't worry about the overlapping layers because we'll be using masking to fix that. Now make sure it looks like it's still a part of the body. Now the next one is to select the mask, to add mask layer, and then use a brush and set it at white so that you will see on the, set it to black so you see the layer underneath. Use a softer brush so that it will be faint. Now make sure it'll look like it's still a part of the clothing of the image. There we go, much better. Then the next part is to use again the selection tool, the lips. Press Ctrl J, enlarge it, and then select mask. Now, I forgot to mention that for every manipulation of the body parts, you have to merge it with the original layer. Now the next part is to go to the nose, enlarge it again, and then use the add mask option in the layers. Now let's clean that for a bit. Now we're gonna enlarge that, and then you have to move it up because it looks awkward. There. Use the mask again. Make sure it's still a part of the body. You don't want to make it look awkward. Now we're 1/4 done with the masking activity. The next part is, oops, you have to paint over that. I had to paint over that. I apologize. You have to go to the ears, enlarge it again, then add a mask. Erase the parts that you don't want to be seen. Same goes for the other part. Now it's suggested you merge the layers so that you won't have a hard time with it. Now the next one is to make the hands larger. Again, it's also the same. Make sure that when you mask the layer, it still looks like it's a part of the original image. You might have to make some adjustments with the size of the brush. And then you go to the Liquify effect under the effects, and then use the cursor to manipulate the size of the body parts. Now the point of the caricature effect is to exaggerate parts of the body. We started that with enlarging the parts. Now we have to change how the parts look. Now it may look distorted, but try your best to actually make it look like it's still. And let's start over again. There we go. It's much better. Now exaggerate the other parts of the head. Usually what's noticeable in the caricature effect is the head. Now if you're okay with that, then press the OK button. My laptop is very slow, so forgive me. I'm just using a standard laptop, not the gaming type. And there we... Oops, it's loading. There we go.
Do I need a seatbelt? I don't? Okay, here we go.
Now the next thing to do is to fix parts of the... If ever you still have to fix parts of it, then you may do so. For me, I had to erase parts of the ear because it was a bit distorted, so you have to fix that. I also had to fix some parts of the cropping layers. Now I also had to change the background again because some parts of it were a bit weird. Now the next part of it is, after manipulating everything, you have to fix the lighting. Now you go to Burn tool and then go to shadows and to highlight the shadows of the picture. And then the next thing to do is to use a brush, and the mode effect is soft light, so that you'll be able to highlight the lighter edges of the picture. It has to be faint, not too strong. Now the next thing is to add a texture to it. Now play with the blending modes. And I think this works for me. So if you want, you could also play with the saturation, vibrance, all the lighting effects. Now for me, I added a photo filter because the background was already blue, so what complements well with blue is yellow to orange. So there you go. Thank you very much, and see you again next time.